Welcome back to A Portrait of a Projector with Linda Lundström. And today we're going to dive deeper into my interview with her. I'm laughing because she's just so freaking hilarious. If you didn't catch the first video, I definitely recommend you go back and watch that first because she kind of gives the whole context of her upbringing and how she became an iconic Canadian fashion designer. Oh, and if we haven't met, I'm Karen McMullen, the Human Design Channel, and welcome to my humble kitchen where I'm staying here in Havana, Cuba. In today's video, we are talking about the penetrating aura, not knowing when enough is enough, experiencing burnout and bitterness. So some of the more difficult aspects of being a projector and how Linda has been able to navigate those experiences. Now, one of the things you will for sure notice in this video with Linda is that she is a doer. And I really love her demonstration of this because I couldn't even get her to sit still for the interview. She had to be making dinner, sewing at her sewing machine, and she has a defined root center with that consistent pressure to do. And Linda has been incredibly physically productive throughout her life. She's a very physical person. And I did a video in the projector playlist that was kind of a spoof on this idea that projectors just need to be resting all the time or can only work for 4 hours a day or that kind of thing. Oh, sorry, my alarm. Yeah, unfortunately I've got to go now. What do you mean you have to go? Yeah, we've been working for 3 hours, so I need to go and rest. We're in the breakthrough right now. This is the moment. Yeah, I'm a projector in human design, so I have to honor my non-sacral energy by resting after 3 hours of work. Do you actually feel tired? No, I don't feel tired actually. I will put the link to that there so you can go watch it and laugh. And I mentioned this idea to Linda that projectors need to rest a lot, and this was her response. So projectors are said to need more rest than generators. So they're ideally not going to be the one that actually does everything. They're not the workhorse, they're the visionary, they're the leader, they're the director.
That's not true.
That's
not true. You got to check your notes again, Karen, because because that's not true. I'm the first one. Well, you saw me today. The kid that was helping pull apart that dog didn't know how to trim the trees to make a path. And I just went down there with my thing and I said, this is how you do it. I mean, I love getting my hands dirty. I love being involved. It's the duration that... So once I've shown him how to do it, and I've shown him by example how to do it, and I've actually cut a few branches or sawed a few logs or split a few logs or whatever the job is, then I can say, okay, see what I did there? Go and do that on that whole pile of wood, right? Or in my manufacturing company, I would make the pattern, I would sculpt the garment with my hands, make the pattern, and then I would give it to a computer technician to input it into the computer and take it to the next stage. But I love being there at the beginning.
awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yes. However, I do think that Linda does demonstrate the truth of the projector. It's not about not doing, it's about the not having the longevity of the doing. So that she wasn't the workhorse, but she was the fire starter and the one that showed the template to someone else to then duplicate and take it from there. And this to me is an alignment with the projector gift of guiding and leading. And true leadership isn't like a ruler that just sits back and says this and this. You know, to me, a real leader gets in there with people and shows that they are also on the team. Have you ever struggled with burnout or like just exhausting yourself?
Yes. I have struggled with burnout. It's interesting because it wasn't when my company was failing, it was when my company was really taking off. And I made one of several doctor's appointments. And I went to my doctor and I said, like, nothing is, like, I just feel like I'm constipated, I've got sinus infections all the time, and I have to go to Ottawa to get an award for business excellence, I think it was. So fix me. And so I was on my way to another doctor's appointment because I had to go to Ottawa to receive this very prestigious award. And I couldn't find a parking spot by my doctor's office. And I just started to cry. And I could not stop. Tears are streaming down my face. It was like not being able to find a parking spot was like the straw that broke the camel's back, you know? I pulled into a gas station, pulled up to the pump, left my keys in my car, and I said to the guy, fill it up, I'll be back. And there's tears streaming down my face. And that was when I used to never go out of the house with a full face of makeup. Today I just wear lipstick. So I mean, like, mascara is streaming down my face, and I go into my doctor's office and she just lets me, like, I can't even tell her what's going on, that I couldn't find a parking spot. And she said, Linda, you are physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted, and you need to take some time off. What do you mean? I can't take time off. I got to go to Ottawa to get this award. I'm right in the middle of a collection. I can't take time off. She said, well, you have to, because you're burnt out. And I knew she was true. I knew she was right, but I didn't know how to tell people. I said, oh, I can't, how am I going to tell people? I was so embarrassed, you know. This is back in the 80s. And she said, well, who do you want to tell first? I said, I want to tell Joel. She said, I'll tell him. So she got on the phone to Joel and she said, your wife is physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted, and she needs to take some time off starting today. And I can't remember what his reaction was because I was only listening to one side of the conversation. But for some reason, I could not tell my husband the way I was feeling. But when my doctor told him, his response was, whatever it takes, whatever we have to do. You know, she's been pushing herself, but, you know, I didn't know it was this bad. Because the thing is, when you're a strong person, both physically, which I am, and mentally, you have the ability to keep pushing forward, because when people are depending upon me, that's when I draw upon a resource, a strength that I didn't know I had. You know, it's like, so people depending upon me was a really important factor in me not paying attention to what I needed. I was really concerned with what other people needed. And right at that time, one of the awards I won actually was for mental health in the workplace. Can you believe it? So I'm breaking down because I can't find a parking space, and meanwhile our company's being held up as being very progressive in terms of employee benefits. We didn't have sick days, we had wellness days. What's a wellness day? It's a day when you can take the day off to get your dentist appointment, do everything that it takes, even if you're just going to sit and read a book, that you need to be well, instead of waiting until you get sick. And so we were recognized for these very innovative policies in our company, but the policies somehow didn't apply to me. You know, and I needed some wellness days, let's put it that way. I did go to Ottawa to get my award because I didn't know how to get out of it. And then I went to a spa in Mexico and I spent a couple of weeks there. And then I took a month off work and I gave my staff a couple of hours notice. They pitched in and finished the collection. It was a really good learning for me because everybody knew that I was on the brink, but without me actually letting go and letting it happen, that was the thing that created an opening for them to step up and take over some responsibilities that I had been shouldering. So, does that make sense?
Yes, what an amazing story.
Yeah, it was. And I think we have no idea how fragile, we have no idea what that final straw is going to be, you know? Oh, it's like I had to be invited to have a nervous breakdown. You know, like I couldn't give myself permission. Somebody had to tell me, okay, you're having a complete breakdown and you need to do this. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good. It's interesting in this story to hear about how burnout and success kind of went hand in hand. And I do think that not knowing when enough is enough, not listening to the body's limits, is a shadow that Linda has exemplified and lived in her life. And just to inform you, in case you haven't seen the video about the undefined sacral center, that is the not self theme for the undefined sacral center, is not knowing when enough is enough. So I will link that video there so that you can check that out, but it's a part of the Projector playlist.
What's the difference between bitter and angry? No, I know, I think I know. Bitter is like the time when a person that was somebody that I was working with mistakenly sent a text message to me that was intended for somebody else, and it was about me. Betrayal, I'll never forget. I will never forget that text message that I got. I must say that I looked for opportunities. I didn't call her out on it. I didn't take action. I just waited for opportunities to present themselves when I could avenge or reveal the person's true nature, because this duplicitousness that she was demonstrating in sending a text about me to somebody else but sending it to me by mistake, it revealed something about her that I suspected, but now there it was right in front of me. So it's like I tucked it in the back of my mind. I didn't make a big deal of it at the time, but I tucked it in the back of my mind, and then I waited for opportunities to either vindicate myself or to undermine her way of approaching things, which was very political, very toxic.
I was really struck by Linda's comment that she will never forget that person's text message. And yet again, similar to how Amy Elizabeth talked about bitterness and success in the Projector playlist, I really love how Linda just demonstrates keeping on with her own path, and doesn't let those experiences deter her from her success. Have you noticed moments where people get really hurt or offended by what you say or do?
All the time.
Because of being a projector.
Joel, do you remember at Darby's wedding?
Oh my goodness, Linda's response is priceless here, where she really does know what I mean about offending people.
For Darby's wedding, she said we would have had more people here, but there were too many people that Linda wasn't speaking to or weren't speaking to Linda. Oh God, I don't know if that's funny or sad, but I seem to... See, the problem is that I can do that, maybe offend people or something like that, but they don't tell me. So I just have to figure out, I wonder why I've never heard from that person again. I've sent them emails and I've left voicemail messages and I'm not, Karen, I've learned in my 70 years on this earth that I'm not that sensitive. I don't know if sensitive is the word, but I don't pick up on certain clues. I don't know what the word is. Is it intuitive? Is it sensitive? Is it, I just don't pick up on when I've gone too far. I've tried really hard as I get older to ask for permission if I'm going to give somebody some feedback or something like that, is to ask permission and stop sooner than I might have before. I love it when people say to me, "You're such a jerk," like what? I love it when people are really direct with me. I love being direct with people, and I love it when people are direct with me. But what I've learned is that I can take it more easily than other people. You know what I mean? The people that know me and love me have come to accept that in me. They know that I'm direct and there's not a lot of nuances. But for people that don't know that, it's not easy for them, I guess, to be around me because I'm I don't know. I'm going on and on here. I don't really understand. Maybe you can help me understand it.
Well, that's just what I was sharing about the projector aura is penetrating. Your very aura, your presence is going into the other person, and the projector also has a gift of seeing.
Of seeing.
Seeing things as they are, seeing things that other people don't see. So they just see something and then they say it to the other person, but the other person, it's like it goes right into them. It penetrates them. And then they also feel very naked and seen, maybe even in their flaws. Like my
So what do I
projector
do?
boyfriend was like, "Oh, you have a mustache." He's like, "Oh,
Who said that?
My projector boyfriend that I had.
Yeah.
He's commenting on my mustache and blah blah blah." So
And that really affected you.
yes.
That wouldn't bother me at all. I go, yeah, you're right. I go and shave it off or pluck it off or whatever. Like, no, that wouldn't bother me at all, not even a little. Karen, you're so sensitive.
Okay.
In fact, I'd probably say, geez, thank you so much. Damn it, I better go and get rid of that right now.
That would bug me.
If someone said that?
Some are similar situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would bother you. No, it doesn't bother me. That's why I don't understand why you get so upset when it's like we're on a different language. We're talking a different language or something like that, and I'm constantly having to apologize for being insensitive to my very sensitive and wonderful husband over there. Poor Joel.
I really appreciated what Linda was saying about not necessarily being that sensitive. And I do think that this is such an interesting topic. I should probably do a video about sensitivity, because while the projector is incredibly perceptive, and it could be different for an emotional projector, but in her case, a splenic projector, the spleen is known for being cool and unemotional. And having this high degree of perception and ability to perceive as a projector, and yet with the emotional coolness of the spleen, I do think creates the potential for a very cool and potentially cruel or mean, perfectly innocently possibility for expression. And I've definitely experienced this with projectors where they can just say the most harsh thing that just kind of destroys you. And to them, they're just stating a truth that's completely obvious to them. And I think this conversation with Linda perfectly captures that characteristic. And then how that has, affected her relationship with her sweet husband, Joel. Because as a generator, you really have no defense. You have an open, enveloping aura. And then here comes this perception that's penetrating. Oh my goodness, it can be so hurtful. I'm super curious to hear what you received from today's video. I think it's extremely relatable, and of course, Linda's hilarious and so charismatic, so the stories are priceless. We have one more video in store where we're going more in depth on her 2-4 profile. And of course, feel free to hit me up for a human design reading. I'm especially gifted at helping energetically sensitive people to step into their unique gifts in business and learn how to shine and get their work out there in an effective way by building strong foundations. It all starts with a reading, so I'll put the link to the reading there, but also I'll put below all the links to my free and paid offerings. Thanks for being here. It's been so fun to share Linda with you, and I'll see you again soon here on my channel. Bye.